A Georgia appeals court indefinitely put a pause on the election subversion and conspiracy case against Donald Trump. Now, will things get better for Trump from now on? We're joined by Chris Casquejo from VOA. Welcome back.
Good to be with you.
Chris, let's jump right into it. Why the pause? What was the court's reasoning?
Well, the pause will allow the appeals court to review the lower court judge's ruling, allowing Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis to remain on the case. You might remember that Trump and other defendants argued that she should be taken off the case because she had a romantic relationship with the special prosecutor, and they argued that it posed a conflict of interest. Now, in this appeal, the Georgia Court of Appeals order on Wednesday prevents Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee from moving forward with pretrial motions in the election subversion case as he had planned while this appeal is pending.
Well, then the question is, will the case not occur before the 2024 presidential election in November? How are legal analysts expecting?
Well, it's important to note some of the dates that are involved in this latest appeal. It was already unlikely that this case was going to go to trial before the November general election, when Trump is expected to be the Republican nominee for president. But this makes it probably even more likely that this will be delayed even further. Now, the appeals court on Monday registered the appeals filed by Trump and 8 other defendants and said that if oral argument is requested and granted, it is tentatively scheduled for October 4th, which is about a month before the election here. The court will then have until mid-March of next year to rule, and even then the losing side will be able to appeal to the Georgia Supreme Court. So that mid-March date really takes it out of play for the election. Now, you might remember this election subversion case all started when a Fulton County grand jury in August of last year indicted Trump and 18 others, accusing them of taking part in a sprawling scheme to illegally try to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. 4 defendants have pleaded guilty after reaching deals with prosecutors, but Trump and the others have pleaded not guilty.
Right, and speaking of Georgia, apparently voters in Georgia were nearly evenly split over the guilty conviction of Trump in his hush money case over in New York. Now, that's according to the latest poll released on Wednesday. Tell us more about that.
Well, in this latest poll, Trump holds a slight lead over President Joe Biden, 49 to 44% in a head-to-head matchup in the battleground state of Georgia, according to the latest Quinnipiac University poll of registered voters in that state. Independents, an important voting bloc, are evenly split, with 45% backing Trump and 45% backing Biden. Now, in a 6-way hypothetical race that includes other candidates, Trump leads with 43% support, Biden receives 37% support, and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. receives 8% support. Now, voters in this poll were asked about the guilty verdict in the New York City criminal trial in connection with those hush money payments. Half of the voters agree with the verdict, while 44% disagree. When voters were asked how the guilty verdict impacts their vote for Trump, 22% said it makes them less likely to vote for him, while 23% said it makes them more likely to vote for him, and 54% say it doesn't make a difference at all in their vote. Now, breaking that number down among independents, 18% say the verdict makes them less likely to vote for Trump, 21% of independents say it makes them more likely to vote for Trump, and 61% say it doesn't make a difference at all.
Well, then what do the poll results mean? I mean, why does such a poll even matter in Georgia?
Well, because Georgia is one of those so-called battleground states, swing states, along with Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Now, it's important to remember, and we say this a lot, that the U.S. presidential election is not a national popular vote. It's a series of contests in the 50 states in which the winning candidate has to achieve 270 electoral votes. So we're always talking about that race to 270 in presidential elections. Now, bear this out. In the last election in 2020, Biden's winning margin in the 6 swing states in 2020 totaled just over 300,000 votes out of 158 million total cast for president nationwide. And the Washington Post reported that the winner would have changed by flipping just over 81,000 votes in 4 states, and those 4 states were Arizona, Nevada, Washington, and Georgia. So we see how close the polls are, and we see how close they are in these battleground states.
Definitely. Let's talk about other battleground states. Namely, you mentioned Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. How are Trump and Biden doing at the moment?
Well, in the latest poll from this week, they are in a statistical dead heat. And that is a Florida Atlantic University poll from Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The Michigan survey results show that Biden and Trump are tied at 45% among voters. However, Biden is behind Trump by 2% in Pennsylvania among all voters, with Trump getting 45% and Biden 43%. The survey results in Wisconsin show that the candidates are neck and neck. Biden is 2% ahead among all voters, 40% for Biden and 38% for Trump. But these results, I've thrown out a bunch of numbers, are all within the margin of error in this poll, which is plus or minus 3 percentage points. So you can see that we're going to be talking about this all the way through November.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for that report. As always, we appreciate it.
Good to be with you.